Hello, my tarot friends. It's Justin Michael. Welcome back to my channel, and of course, welcome if this is your first time visiting. I appreciate you stopping by as usual. So I have a couple of decks here from Robert in Place. I'm going to show you specifically the Alchemical Tarot of Marseille, which is a deck that came to me yesterday. Surprisingly, at the end of the day, it was weird because I went down to check my mail and I got nothing but bills. And then later on in the night when I went down there, this package was sitting there, and I had just got the shipping notification, so it must have came like the same day, which was very strange, but nevertheless, I got it. I also have a book here from Scott Martin called The Silent Doorkeeper, and I'm going to show you the Hermes playing card deck as well. First, I just wanted to give you a little bit of a channel update because it's been a while since I've done that, and I just wanted to let you know what you could expect in the next few weeks to months and so forth. Most of you know that I do a series called The Titans of Tarot. Titans of Tarot is basically, it's an interview series that I started, and it kind of started by accident, actually. And it kind of just gave me the idea. Once I interviewed one or two people, it kind of gave me the idea for this ongoing series that I have. I don't have dates. I don't have a schedule. It's a very spontaneous thing, and when I make the videos, they kind of stay there anyway. So it's an ongoing project. I have a few coming up. I think one in June. Possibly with Eve Renaud, but I'll keep you posted on that as far as dates and so forth. So recently, I've decided to do my interviews live. The reason I do that is more or less for you guys and not for me, because I am happy to do the interviews pre-recorded, and it's very comfortable. There's no pressure. It is nice, and I'm getting used to going live and stuff, but it's very easy to do an interview when it's just two people chatting, because it's not like a live audience watching. But several people have asked me if I would do it live because, in the past when I interviewed people like Robert in Place, some of my viewers have mentioned that they wish they could have asked questions. So in my last interview with Rachel Pollack, which technically wasn't a part of the the interview series. It was a separate interview on its own. It wasn't a Titans of Tarot interview because I already had interviewed Rachel, and what an honor to do that. I got to talk to her about 78 Degrees of Wisdom, which is a book that really just has, in a lot of ways, inspired me to be into tarot anyway, So it was an honor to do that, and I was happy. But I did it live, and that was my first live interview. I did one other kind of interview live with Sarah from who's she's a shaman, but we did some readings and stuff, and it wasn't a part of my series, and it wasn't the kind of interview I'm talking about. In a sense, when you go live with somebody, it's always sort of an interview, But so in going live, I've had some challenges in that, because I don't have a weekly live. And there's always new people coming into the community, new channels popping up all the time. It's becoming harder and harder to schedule a time that doesn't conflict with others. So all I can guarantee is, and this is all I'm going to say about this, is that I make a bona fide attempt to try and make it work. And I think I've only had one conflict since I've been doing this for over a year now. I don't go live weekly, but I will go live when I have an event like a Titans of Tarot interview, and I will make a bona fide attempt to do it in a time that doesn't conflict with other people. But unfortunately, because there's just literally hundreds of people on YouTube creating contents all the time, there is inevitably going to be overlap. And I'm happy to make accommodations for, especially as a personal choice. It's something I do like as a courtesy for people I know. But it's naive to think that you could possibly do that for everyone, and that anyone is entitled to a spot, especially if it's a prime time spot, whether it's once a week or multiple times a week or whatever. It's just not realistic. So, again, I will try and make that happen, but ultimately I have to make my content when I can make it. I have to make it good for my viewers and for the person I'm interviewing. And ultimately, there's just some realities. And I'm not going to not make a piece of content because it conflicts with someone else. It's just not going to happen. And I don't think anybody expects me to do that either. I'm just putting that out there. So yeah, the interview series is going to continue, and I have some really good ones coming up, hopefully. So that's very interesting. As far as like lives, like I said, I don't want to do a weekly live because I feel like I'll be forcing content out. And there will be a day where I'm just really tired, or I didn't sleep well the night before, or I just don't want to talk to anybody, that I'll have to go live, and I'll have to be phony. I'll have to put on a face. And I don't want to have to do that. I want to be able to just make videos when I feel inspired to make them, so that I'm genuine and you know, myself, you know, and feeling in a good mood. As far as videos, it's the same thing. You know, I don't have a weekly schedule. Sometimes I do 2 videos in a week. Sometimes I do 3 in a week. Sometimes I do 1 in a week. You know what I mean? It depends on what is going on in my life and what I want to put out. And once I make a video, it stays up anyway, usually. I mean, unless I take it down for whatever reason, which is very rare. So yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at. And my channel here, I don't have any big goals for my channel. I don't see myself being this huge YouTube personality anytime soon. I don't have the need for that. My goal is to create content that is of use, as of value for the study of tarot and for the history of tarot. And I like to promote people like Cheryl Smith and Rachel Pollack and Robert M. Place, and people like that. I try to elevate with my own voice, because I feel like they're making an impact in the study of tarot. They're doing things that are extraordinary, and I've learned from them, so I like to share it, you know. And so that's what I try to do with my channel. I try to make it educational. Even if I do a walkthrough, I don't just show decks that you can buy, you know. I try to tell you different things about the deck, why I like the deck, how it's been of use to me. And there's nothing wrong with showing decks. Like, I love doing walkthroughs. I started off doing walkthroughs, and I'm not knocking the walkthrough, but I just try to make content that is of value. And obviously not every video is going to be, you know, super informative. Sometimes I'm just going to show you a cool deck and talk to you about what I want to talk to you about. But that's ultimately what my channel goal is. So that's all I want to say about that. So let's take a look at the Alchemical Tarot of Marseille. Now, I was lucky enough to have a conversation with Robert a few months ago about this. And initially, when I saw the deck, I was like, oh, this isn't the Tarot of Marseille. Not like I expected it. And I can't remember how I asked him, but I brought it up in the interview in some way. And his response was, well, I'm creating the deck with the Tarot of Marseille symbolism and the style, the general style, but it's a woodcut. The originals was carved in wood by these engravers, and then they were stamped on paper and stenciled and so forth. That's not his style, so he's not going to draw that with a pen and ink, because that was engraved art. So he has to do it in his own style. And what he said was, you know, the Tarot of Marseille is very much folk art, and he wanted to do it as if he were a trained artist, which he is, in that time. And I totally respect that. It's something different. So I do understand where people are coming from when they say it's not a Tarot of Marseille. However, you know, you have to keep in mind that the Tarot of Marseille was carved. It wasn't drawn. And it's a different style of art. And a lot of people don't really know that about the Tarot of Marseille. It took me a long time to figure that out, actually. Like, longer than you would think, because Marseille was introduced to me not as an art style, but as sort of a way of reading and a style that appeared on the cards. And it never occurred to me, well, that was actually engraved by somebody, you know, and stamped on a paper and then, you know, stenciled. So, I mean, that's extraordinary. And that's why I love tarot. I mean, I love the Tarot of Marseille for that reason. It's beautiful. But in the same sense, you know, Robert M. Place is a very skilled artist, and he's going to do it in his own art style. And it's totally understandable. Anyway, I don't want to be too preachy. I expected it because he put images up on his website, but he also told me personally in my interview, you know, that's how it was going to be. So I wasn't disappointed when I got the deck, because I knew what I was getting. The box is really, really nice. It's just like the 5th edition of the Alchemical and the 2nd edition of the Sevenfold's Mystery, which is Really, really great. And the card quality is so nice. It's got this really nice gold gild. They had this really nice matte feel. And this one comes with a book, which is great. And you get a lot of stuff about northern Italy and then how that evolved into the Tarot de Marseille, how Marseille is actually not really even from the region of Marseille all the time. It's actually not even always from France. There were Tarot de Marseilles in Italy, in Switzerland, all over the place. And so usually they had French titles and they were of a certain style. And he talks all about that in the book. And it was all very interesting. And then he also talks about the cards themselves, which is really, really cool. To me, this seemed like another version of his Alchemical Tarot, is what it seemed like. It seemed, he has different variations like of the Alchemical Tarot, and this is just another variation of that. It's just the Marseille variation. These are the card backs. You saw the gilding, really beautiful cardstock. So you have the image here of the fool with this dog, and it's the thing that's Marseille about it is that it has a French title, but it's also the kind of simplistic imagery. It doesn't have a whole lot. It's all just sort of one single image, just like the Marseille was. And that's the point. It's just drawn in his own style, which I totally respect. It has on here something written. It says, once on a time when I had begun to think about things that are, and my thoughts had soared high aloft. And has that, typical Robert M. Place alchemical stuff on there. It's very interesting. It's very simple. I'm not going to show you all the cards. I'm going to go through all the majors. And then I'll show you some of the pips, but I'm not going to go through all the pips because I have another deck to show you, and I want to keep this video pretty short. I'm already at 12 minutes. It must be that all the world which lies below has been set in order and filled with the contents of the things which are placed above. So you got the as above, so below kind of thing. Very cool. The caduceus wand. And the papers. But he has a very specific method for reading and for teaching tarot. He's a trained practitioner. And, he likes to express that in his art and his cards. And that's totally fine. That's what you expect when you get a Robert M. Place deck. Now, one thing I find funny is the fact that in every one of his decks, there's always at least like 2 or 3 of the cards that have his likeness on it. This is basically a self-portrait of himself. I guess this is maybe the way he sees himself. Does he see himself as the emperor? I don't know. It's a hell of an ego, Robert. No, just kidding. Well, it's funny because he does the same thing with the devil card, so maybe it's just a certain aspect of him. Okay, here's Lover. So yeah, you have arrows flying over with the arrow, and the choice between the two, but then you have that alchemical. Let's see what this one says. We have the power to choose, and likewise to choose the worse. For it is our power to choose the better. Oh no, I'm sorry. We have the power to choose, for it is our power to choose the better, and likewise to choose the worse. So that makes more sense. And Chariot. So I'm going to go through these a little quicker for you. And I was trying to figure out if this would work for, like the Camellia Elias type readers. People that read visually, very visually, and I thought, you could possibly do that with this. I don't know how well it would work. The Tarot de Marseille just seems to work so well with that, especially like the Nicolas Convert. There's like the CBD Tarot and the Millennium Tarot and the Tarot by Pablo Robledo, the Marcel. All those decks work very well visually. This might, but I don't know if it'll work like that. And that's a cool hangman. I also like the text on here. So Okay, so this is what it says. It says, that man gives away to boundless appetites, and so by his own doing, he makes the fire hotter for his torment. So there's a lot of wisdom in there. It's alchemical wisdom, you know, almost like an oracle. You could probably use this as an oracle. And in fact, I might try and do that. And then temperance, same thing, you know. Desire, it has formed a habit of will, according to reasoning of the soul, becomes temperance. And he talks a lot about temperance and the soul of appetite and the soul of will. You know, temperance is the solution for the soul of appetite. You know, it's the only, it's the water to cool the fire of that desire. You know, of soul of appetite. And you know, it's very Neoplatonist type stuff. It's all in his book. And then we have the devil, and of course you have his symbolism on there. I mean, his likeness in the card as well, which is always funny. Somebody told me to ask him that in the interview about why he looks like that, and I forgot to ask him. I wanted to. Here's the tower. If I ever get a chance to talk to him again, I'm going to have to ask him that. And the star. I like this deck. Especially that I've been sitting with it all day. I've mixed the cards around a bit. You know, it's really grown on me. It's just not. If you have this idea in your head that it's going to be like the John Noblet or the John Dodal or the Nicolas Convert, even, it's not. It's nothing like that. The only thing that's similar is the images themselves, what's going on in the picture, and the fact that it's like a simple kind of image, you know. But it's still very Robert M. Place, and I respect that about him. You know, I respect that he's true to his style, and that's, you know, he doesn't have anything to prove to anybody. He's established himself. He's a legend, really, in tarot, and he's created these great decks that have been popular among many people. And you know, it's just he just is going to create the deck that he feels he wants to create. I think that's very commendable. Okay, so here's the Ace of Pentacles. Now I have the pips kind of mixed up because I have been shuffling them around a little bit. So here's some swords. Seven of Swords. You have a fox on there, like the sly fox. So it's kind of relates a little bit to like the Rider-Waite-Smith imagery. And you have the sly fox and the chicken or the bird. He's like versus the feet a little bit, I guess. I don't know. It's like people see what they want to see in these images. You know, it's like it's if you think about the Seven of Swords in the Rider-Waite-Smith, it's like some people are like, oh, it's a thief. And other people are like, you know, he's leaving some things behind. Other people are like, he's finding a creative solution to a problem by going into a military encampment and stealing. It's like people see what they want to see. Meanwhile, Pixie had something specific in mind when she drew that, and it's like we don't know what it was. And even if we did know what she meant, it doesn't mean we know the meaning of it as far as divination is concerned. So these are the court cards. And the King of Swords. I'm going to show you the Ace of Wands, and I think I'm just going to... Everything that is moved by the soul. Ace of Wands. All right. So these are what the wands look like. Here's the Three of Wands with the ship. And, you know, that's very un-Marseille of him to do, to put the little images in there. But again, the pips themselves, the pip objects, the wands, look very Marseille in a lot of ways. This is a deck I had to sit with for a while to kind of get it through my head, like on what he was doing. I'll show you one last one, the Three of Pentacles. But once I did that, I kind of understood more like what the deck was about, and I get his vision now, because you always have that, even though the images were available for the most part on his website before you bought them, which was smart of him to do anyway, knowing that it was going to be like that. I don't know if he does that for every deck, if he puts his images up, but it was smart for this one, because you say Tarot de Marseille, people are going to think, you know, the Convert, woodblock type stuff, but you know, it wasn't like that. So I'm glad he did that. Probably saved himself a headache too. So I got the playing cards, the Hermes playing cards. Let me show you them briefly, and this is going to be very quick. These are, I wanted this deck of cards for a long time. They're actually sold out the last time I ordered from him. I pre-ordered 2 decks, one for me and one for a friend, and so I finally got it. And it's a nice box. They feel good, you know. They have the same kind of cardstock as like his. It feels almost like the original Sevenfold's Mystery, you know, the first edition, a little bit like that kind of cardstock. I don't know if it's the same or not, but it feels that way. And you know, it's nice. I mean, I really like it, and I'll probably use it because I do some playing card readings occasionally. Here's the Joker. And the other Joker. And then we have the Queen of Diamonds, Jack of Hearts. Got him a little mixed up. So what he said was, when he created this, is oftentimes this was created after like the 36 card tarot decks, you know. Like they were missing 7 through 10 or whatever. But he made 52 cards in this. But a lot of times those Lenormands or Lenormand, however you pronounce it, or other playing card type oracles, what they would do is they would have an image on the big picture, and then they would put the playing card image real small at the bottom. What he did was, he said he reversed it, which I like, you know. So it's the same concept. It's very much like that kind of, I don't know if it can be used as a Lenormand or not. Probably can. I don't know. I don't see, you know, it's hard for me to know because I'm not familiar with Lenormand. But you have like I know there's a ship in Lenormand. I just don't know if they all work. You know. What I found interesting too is just, I don't know if these are pigeons or starlings or what they are on the 7 of Diamonds, but I often think of the number 7 with starlings, because starlings fly in that beautiful formation. You see them kind of going like swarms of bees almost across the sky, and they always fly in perfect unison. And I read somewhere that actually a starling keeps 7 birds surrounding them in their vision at all times, or in their kind of radar at all times, and follows the movement of those 7 birds and goes with them. So 7 seems to be a very mystical number, but I do think of the starling a lot of times when I think of the number 7. And I found that interesting, and I don't know if those are starlings on the deck. I should probably look that up. I will later. Maybe I'll put it in the description box, my results. You know, what I find out. Here's a Jack of Diamonds. I don't know if I showed you that one or not. Very Hermes looking figure there. Also looks like Robert. So yeah, that's the Hermes playing card oracle. Let's see here real quick. Let me just see this real quick. I just want to find something out. See if it mentions it. So the 7 of Diamonds, the birds, communication, conversation, talk, gossip. So, you know, communication, gossip, but, you know, communication was a big one that I thought of because of the starling, you know. That's interesting. Somebody's having fun beeping the horn outside. I don't know. The Flyers win or something? Flyers are the hockey team here. Okay, so last but not least, The Silent Doorkeeper by Scott Martin is the book which Robert is printing, and it's all about the alchemical tarot. The title of it is Alchemical Tarot Shines a Light on COVID-19 by Scott Martin. Scott is actually somebody who I know to see him, because a lot of times I see him in the same workshops I take. Like, I take a lot of workshops with Mary Greer, with Rachel Pollack, and he's always in those workshops. And I say hello to him, and I have talked to him on Facebook briefly, but we're like not like super friendly with him, but I know who he is. And I did get his first book. Don't know if he has more than 2 books, but I have a book. It's like acting out the tarot or something. It has to do with like plays and theater with tarot, and I found it interesting, so I got it, but I haven't read it yet. This I actually read already, a lot of it, and it's very much, it's not what I expected, like, but I like it. I'm not knocking it. It's very simple. It's a daily. What he did was he started doing this on social media. I think he did it on Facebook, and every day he would pull a card from the Alchemical Tarot, and then he would write about it. And he journaled all through COVID-19, and he made a book out of it. So that's what you have of this, and it's pretty interesting. I haven't read it all, but I read a few of the cards and the intro. And well, there isn't really much of an intro, but he just basically talks about the process. So something written by Robert and then something written by him. But it's kind of cool, you know. And it's if you like books like that, it might come in handy, because you get an interpretation of the Alchemical Tarot, which is not an easy tarot to read. It's a tarot you have to study. That is a study deck. You have to really study the symbolism and stuff, because the meanings don't always match up with the Rider-Waite-Smith and so forth. Because Robert likes that alchemical stuff, you know, that Platonic type, symbolism and all. But anyway, I appreciate you guys stopping by as always. Thank you very much. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And of course, until next time, love and peace, my friends. We'll talk.